Next movie is the movie about my favorite superhero, Iron Man. Okay, let's begin. This movie is about Tony Stark, who is basically a genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist. That's it, that's the whole movie. Tony Stark is the weapons manufacturer for the US. He is rich, arrogant, careless even. That is until one day a weapons demonstration goes terribly wrong where an ambush takes place and Tony Stark is actually kidnapped by a bunch of people who attack him using his very own tech. A missile that Tony created lands and bursts a small distance from him, and that causes small shards of metal to enter his chest. He survives though, as he is helped by a doctor who creates this electromagnet that keeps the shards from entering his heart. During this period, Tony realizes that all the tech that he has created is being used for the wrong purpose and by the wrong people. So that changes him, and so after escaping his kidnappers in this awesome Transformer meets Terminator fight sequence, he goes and shuts down the Stark's weapons department, which does not go well with Stark's uncle Obadiah Stane, who, as it turns out, is a greedy man who wants money for the company and is not afraid to harm Tony Stark in the process. Stark, on the other hand, starts developing suits instead of weapons, something that he can control and something that he can prevent from falling in the wrong hands. In the end, there's an amazing fight sequence between Stark and Stane, and in defense, Stark has to kill Stane. In the last part of the movie, we see Tony Stark addressing a press conference and he tells the world he's Iron Man. Honorable mentions: Pepper Potts. She is Tony Stark's assistant. She helps him throughout the movie. She even saves his life at one point. Stark and Pepper Potts are going to be romantically involved in the near future. Lieutenant Colonel James Rhodes, he is Tony Stark's best friend and soon to be his sidekick, a war machine. With 3 done, 4 to go. Let's do this. Next movie is Iron Man 2. So we pick up right after the press conference where Tony Stark tells the world that he is Iron Man. Since then, Iron Man is seen maintaining peace all over the world. Now the key point of this movie is this. The government feels that the Iron Man, that Tony Stark, should hand over the Iron Man suits to the government. Tony Stark denies completely because he feels that the suits are his possession and his property, and so the government can't have them. Also, he states that this technology won't be available in the world in the near future for a long time, according to him. His exact words are, "Iron Man has successfully privatized world peace." So, now the Iron Man suit is powered by the arc reactor technology, which is basically the thing that is powering the electromagnet in his chest, which is keeping the shards from entering his heart. And also it powers the entire suit. Turns out this arc reactor requires the use of palladium, which is turning Tony Stark's blood toxic and so is slowly killing him. So major development, Tony Stark is dying. Speaking of the arc reactor, the designs belonged to Howard Stark, Tony's father, and this other scientist named Vanko. Now, Vanko is cast out of the deal because he gets involved in some Russian mafia thing. Not important. What is important is that Vanko's son decides to take revenge on Tony Stark, and so he creates the arc reactor himself individually, and in a racing event he goes and tries directly to kill Tony Stark right there. He fails, but he is immediately approached by Tony Stark's weapons rival, Justin Hammer. Throughout the movie, we see Stark has accepted his fate and he has just accepted the fact that he's going to die. He gives away all his possessions and assets, starting from his company to Pepper Potts, his Iron Man suit to his best friend Rhodey. This is when we see none other than Nick Fury intervening and telling Stark to get his act together. Finally, Tony solves his palladium problem in a very emotional sequence that involves a father-son development moment, and Tony Stark actually discovers an element. They don't call him a genius for nothing. In the end, there's a major fight sequence between Vanko and his drones that he creates using the arc reactor technology versus Tony Stark and War Machine, that is Lieutenant Colonel James Rhodes or Rhodey. The fight is won by the good guys, obviously. Honorable mentions: Natasha Romanoff. is shown as Pepper Potts' assistant in this movie, but is actually an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. She is a very important character, a major character, as is seen in the movie Avengers. And that is it. Next movie, we have the movie about a Greek god and, shall I say, the handsomest Marvel superhero ever, Thor.